Hey there, it's Anna. Today I wanted to talk all about the seeds that I'm going to be starting in February and March out in the garden. So all these seeds are going to be direct sown, and I want to just go through what I'm direct sowing and just sort of share some more about all these varieties. So I said February and March for this video because I'm going to be kind of adjusting when I sow them a little bit depending on the weather. We've had a really cold January. It's actually been below our normal average temperatures here in zone 7 in America. I'm in Virginia, and we've had a really cold January. So I'm definitely going to be sowing some of these outside towards the end of February. I may wait on some until early March, just going to kind of depend. And so I wanted to just share with you what I am going to be planting. I've got a lot of seeds here. Now, if you know my garden, you know I have a small backyard garden, but I also do have a community plot that is a bit bigger. It's a bit more full sun. And so some of these are going to go into the plot. Some of these are going to be in the home garden. So let's just get into the seeds. Let's go straight to the fun part. So I am going to try to direct sow a few leeks. I got this carnation leek, which is a real pretty, nice large leek. I've never grown leeks before, so this is actually going to be a really fun experiment for me. But they're one that you want to get started in the cool weather once your soil can be worked. So for me, that really is the end of February. These are going to go in the ground. A similar philosophy for onions. So I actually am going to be starting some onions through winter sowing. I'm really excited to get some of them going in that, and I've had such good luck using the winter sowing method. But I also thought it'd be nice to just do a couple direct sown. So I have these lovely jumbo, like yellow onions, and then I also have a red onion. I find that we really eat red onions a lot, so that's a really good variety just for my family. I know that everyone really likes the red onions. Now also, February is when I start my peas. I usually plant my peas out right around Valentine's Day, and that works really well for me. So I have a Tom Thumb pea, which is just like a little miniature size pea. It only gets to be about like 8 inches tall, 14 to 8 inches tall. So that'll be a really fun one. I might put a few more along the edge of a garden bed or in some containers. If you saw my January's outside seed starting in the unheated greenhouse, I actually have some of those going in containers in there. But I thought I'd probably pop a few more just along the edge of one of my spaces. And then I'm also gonna get going some like classic peas. So I have a snow pea. Those are those wider kind of peas. This is Green Beauty Blush. I have grown this pea for a couple years now and love it. Such a great pea. Gets these really massive pods, and it's just a really healthy plant that grows really well. In my area, this is a really nice pea, and I've really enjoyed it. So those are gonna get started. And then I also got these sorry, my little daughter got a hold of this seed packet. It's a little crumpled, but this is the spring blush pea. And I thought that was just a really pretty, unique kind of looking pea with a little bit of pink. I've definitely got some pink plants in the garden this year, so I thought that that would be fun and kind of get started with the pink theme. Oh, this is Mayday. She likes to be involved in seed hauls, although she's not allowed to mess with seeds. Okay, so onions, leeks, that kind of thing. Peas, great things for me to start in this February, March timeframe. Also, the classic radishes. I'm gonna do Cherry Belle and French breakfast. French breakfast because it's just the most tried and true radish, easiest for me to grow, and Cherry Belle is kind of similar along that line. I honestly haven't had great luck with radishes, which is kind of funny because they're supposed to be like the easiest thing to grow. I think a lot of it has to do with just really getting them set up in a good place where I don't have to move them. I've just sort of the last few years, my planning, it hasn't really worked out. So hopefully I can get a few radishes going and get an actual radish harvest this season. That would be really nice. The next section is lettuce. So I have a bunch of lettuce because I like to kind of mix my lettuces, make my own like lettuce mixes, and I just love lettuce. I'm gonna do a few containers with lettuce this year. So I'm gonna run through all these varieties. There's a lot. There's a Cinnamon romaine, and I chose a romaine because romaines tend to last longer through the heat, which it does get hot here in Virginia, and it gets hot quick. So as soon as we get to May, like, it is warm. So I'm hoping that a romaine lettuce will be able to handle that big shift in heat and actually still do okay. Then I got this outrageous, because it's red, lettuce that just looked really pretty. And again, I'm gonna do these in containers, so I need some lettuces that just look pretty. And so I'm gonna go with that one just for the looks. I think it is supposed to be, it says the reddest lettuce variety known. So there you go. Then I'm gonna grow Bronze Beauty. I grew this last year, really liked it. I thought it was another pretty texture for a container. And this is also, I believe, yeah, a bit more heat tolerant and slower to bolt. So that's what I'm looking for in the spring with my lettuces. Then I'm gonna do a couple butterhead lettuces to get like that chartreuse green in my container. So I'm going to do some Garden Babies Butterhead and Butter King. Gotta have that mix of colors. And then to mix all the colors together, bring it together, Forellenschluss, another romaine style lettuce. If you've been around here, you know I absolutely love Forellenschluss. It's my favorite. And so that one's gonna go in as many containers as I can possibly fit it. So those are my lettuces. I may add some more here and there, but I think all ones that will really be able to stand up to the big shift into warmer weather once we get past February, March. Okay, next section, we're going into a lot of greens right now, are going to be Swiss chard. Now, I got a lot of Swiss chard here because I have a plan to do a rainbow bed of Swiss chard. And I tried to grow like that Swiss chard rainbow from one of those mixes. You know, they do like the rainbow mix. And I find that like just some colors grow better than others. It's hard to separate them. Even if you separate the color of seedlings, it can be a little bit tricky. So for me, I feel like the best option is going to be just to grow each color of the rainbow in its own space where I can kind of keep an eye on it. With that in mind, I got let me see, I can put these in the sort of rainbow order. Well, anyways, I got a white Swiss chard Ford Hook Giant. This is gonna be a white Swiss chard, so nice white stem. Then I got, here we go, I got a yellow, Canary Yellow Swiss chard. So that'll be my yellow. Then I got a, what did I do? I did an Oriole Orange Swiss. So that'll be my orange. Then Flamingo Pink Swiss, which I love that name. That should be really pretty. And then Ruby Red Swiss chard. So that'll be hopefully a nice little rainbow of colors and work out really well. And I'm really hoping that by having each variety separated out, I'll be able to get a better rainbow look. So stay tuned on that. Then I just pulled out a bunch of really kind of, not random, but just a real big variety of different seeds for greens. I want to do actually like a little bit of a border area. I have one spot in my garden that's kind of part shade. I often do annual flowers there, but this year I thought it'd be kind of cool, at least for the spring and the early bit of summer, to try to do almost a landscaping with all of these different greens. And so I picked out a few that I thought would look kind of interesting and pretty together that I could sort of mix into a landscape design. That's the plan. This is definitely a landscape that I'm sure will get eaten by cabbage moths at some point, but at least for the spring, maybe we can get it started. So with that in mind, I picked out a bok choy. This is just hybrid bok choy Bopak. I think it's just kind of a nice classic bok choy. Then I'm going to also do sort of on a little bit of shorter scale, I have some corn salad, which is like a real nice, nutty, little low green. And I think it'll be fun for the front of my little garden landscape. I also picked out my trusty peppercress. I've talked about this before. Super fast growing, super fun, fluffy, just interesting texture. I think it'll be great in that little like landscape form. I picked out, with the same thought in mind, some more Mizuna with those really pretty red stalks. I thought that would bring some interest because we want to have a few different colors going on if we're going to have like a landscape look. These are all nice cold weather greens that won't mind a little bit of a chill. I'm gonna do some lanceolato kale, which is like a really beautiful kind of, maybe bring in some of the blue texture to this look. Kale is another one that is so great for this time of year, really doesn't mind cool temperatures. Along with that, collard greens like the cool weather as well. Now they're gonna be slow growing. They're not gonna shoot up super fast, but they won't mind the cool temperatures, and that's really nice. This is one of my favorite collard greens. I really love to eat these and like make them as a wrap and put sausage and tomato sauce inside. So good. I'm also going to do giant red mustard for the color, but also just because how pretty is that, and it's delicious. It's super spicy and really yummy green. And then spinach. Now I have struggled with spinach. I've had trouble getting spinach going. Sometimes spinach can take longer to germinate. It can be a little tricky. I'm not quite sure what it is about my environment. I'm still working it out. But this spinach, this Matador spinach from Botanical Interest, has been such a good spinach for me. It has sprouted faster than other things. It's just a really good one. So I'm gonna stick with that and use that as my spinach element. And then my last thing, actually I have 2 seed packets of this, watercress. So this is not necessarily going to go into a border planting, but this will be a really good one for a container. And I will talk more about growing watercress, but it's a real water loving plant. So I like to do it in a container and then set that container in water so that the watercress's feet are always wet. And watercress is just a super delicious green. It's really nice for salads or to add into sandwiches. It's also one that's expensive at the store, so you can grow it at home for a much better price. So yeah, that is all of my seeds that I'm gonna be starting in February, probably mid to end of February, starting into early March. Keep an eye out. I'll be doing some different containers and some different plantings with these. But when you're looking at seeds for this time of year, if you're in a warm enough environment, look for the packets that say that they can be sown once the soil is workable. If in your area this time period the soil starts to be workable, look for kind of these cool weather crops, a lot of greens, a lot of things in the onion category. I don't have bunching onions in this particular round, but you could definitely grow bunching onions as well this time of year. I think I'm actually going to be winter sowing mine, but who knows? I may pop a few of those in the ground as well. These are all really good things to get started in the garden. So I hope this gave you some fun ideas. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye-bye.